welcome you on MV Kazinga. Martin is my name and I'm your captain for this afternoon trip. We are heading to Mwea Peninsula, Kazinga Channel, and see what nature has for us for this beautiful sunny afternoon.
With pampers. I'm like, okay.
You guys, what a trip. What a trip.
Yeah.
Oh my, are you guys having fun?
Yes,
Do we have to go back?
Yeah.
Can't our children find us here?
Can't we stay?
You could get used to this.
Get used to
So what has been your highlight so far?
here where we are.
Here where we are. I think one of the things that I enjoy about going away from home is being able to enter the room and just leave it messy, knowing that someone else is sort of going to pick up.
You know,
Yeah,
you don't have to lay your bed.
After our own,
Yes.
So for me, that is relaxing for me and just being.
Yeah.
And we've had such an amazing boat ride. And because we're on a momcation, one of our fellow mothers is not having the best life. So
And yet mothering.
is not
It's not suffering.
Yeah.
Mom, life ain't bad life.
This is Bump Love in the DM
on
the boat ride at the momcation.
Wow.
So we thought that we should, read out this message that came through our inbox and perhaps help this mom with a little advice here and there, yeah? And so I'm going to read the message, and it says, I urgently need help. My 10-year-old daughter is driving me nuts. She's so big-headed. You'll talk to her about the same things, get tired of talking, you beat her, but will keep repeating the same exact things. For example, not going to people's homes, not going outside the gate, disrespecting or responding to people disrespectfully. Plus, she's very argumentative, that she will defend her wrong to the core without allowing she has done the wrong. And she's like, what do I do? We can sense the frustration. No, she does not allow.
She sounds like some people. She also reminds me of some
people.
But
wow.
do we
say?
And we say.
We can't say.
So how do we help this mom?
I'll advise her. When a child is like that or they don't listen, I think what I've learned to do is to reward them. Reward when they listen, because most times I'm telling them to either do something, sweep the house, don't clutter. If I want them to do something, I want them to listen and do it. I've learned to reward them after, with whatever it is that they love most, Also, I learned that children, there's a power that they have in them as well. Yeah, so sometimes I'm not sweating the small stuff. When one of my last son, Makil, loves his clothes. He's very passionate about his clothes. When he sees them ironing, he's like, oh, my shirt. So if you're pulling out a cloth that he doesn't want to wear, to give him, he is going to fight about it. So I don't sweat those things. I'm like, if you want that, you wear it. You get.
Choose your battles.
I choose my battles, really.
That's good advice.
Yeah, I choose my battles. And that helps. Also, I learned that there's timing, there's timing. Like, you need to know when they listen best. There are times when children are hungry, and then that's when you're telling them to do something. They're agitated. They are back from school and you're telling them to. They will not listen because they've not rested enough. So you need to have the right timing. You've realized that, let's say you've taken the kids out to maybe chicken. And when you tell them something, they're all excited. Yes, we'll do that. So timing on when you want those, particular things to be listened to. You need to pay attention to the timing of when you're telling them what to do. Not early in the morning before they eat. Wait for breakfast at least. When they're happy, you even see their mood. Because we see our kids' moods. You see when they're happy. So when you see them happy is, you know,
can bring up
a
an
good
issue.
time to, you know, tell them what you want them to listen to. So some of the things
Or when
to...
they want something from you.
Oh, yeah, yes. So yeah,
Oh, yeah,
that's
when they
a
want
few
something
of the
from
things
you,
that
yes.
I'm also learning to
Yes.
work with, yeah,
feel
to get
like-
them to listen.
I feel like a 10-year-old is a fairly old child. Yeah, so not toddler, not child. Like, you know, 10-year-old, they are able to reason. Which is why the mom says she's argumentative. It's a thing of, you say this, I know, I have a rebuttal. Like, I know what to say to you. So I think at that point is when you need to start teaching things like consequences. So I know she's talked about beating and talking. Don't argue with the child. You need to establish authority. And when you say something, you need to follow through with the thing that you have said.
Yeah.
So that the child understands that this is not a debate. We're not arguing, we're not discussing this. I have said this and it must be done.
Yeah.
If it's not done, then you introduce consequences that will pinch. So obviously beating is it's not going to work. So there has to be something. Maybe you're taking away a privilege, or you're taking away something that they actually enjoy doing, or maybe you have promised that they'll, and it could even be as drastic as, we are going away as a family, you will not come.
Yes.
Because this is a child who actually knows what they are doing. The other thing I thought about was introducing a person. So children at that age are very impressionable. So if there's, say, an auntie somewhere or a cousin that they respect, that can help you sort of enforce certain good habits.
For me, my thought is it came from somewhere. Oh yeah. So there's what Rosette had said, where there's a child's, you know, every day, like their temperament or their character and all of that stuff. But you nurture it, right? So there's certain things that you didn't do, and so now they are coming out when the child is 10 years old. So I feel.
Say that again.
So the child didn't become 10 and become argumentative at 10 years. They started really early, and then there was a gap. There's something that the mom didn't do then that now is now manifest. Oh, she's just seeing it now, the results of it. And most times I tell moms that children don't hear, they see. So watch who in your home is like that, and many times it's you, the mom, or you the dad. So if you're to then look at it like that, you're going to watch yourself and how you speak to the child, because you're also arguing, and so they're seeing it like it's a normal, usual reaction. Like when somebody says something, it's only normal for you to battle back, right? So if you got to a place, sometimes I say you need to be in a place where you almost trick your child and go backwards. Or you said you don't want to shower, you won't shower.
Yeah. What did mommy say?
She said I don't shower.
Yeah.
She's not okay. And then so I would say go like reverse, do a reverse sort of psychology. And then I would also like to say that whatever advice you pick from us, it's taken you 10 years to get to where you're going to. Please, you're going to work for another 10 years to help her and learn. Secondly, thirdly, maybe, I wish you could just see it like you're working with your child and their character. They're struggling with it. Have you ever been there and people give you feedback and say, why won't you ever listen? It comes to you. Now, if me as an adult, I can struggle, and I do struggle, so I'm not saying like, I do struggle with listening to other people's opinion, taking it, doing as they think, because I feel like my answer is the correct one.
Yes.
So if me as an adult, I can suffer with that, how much more a 10-year-old who doesn't have experience, doesn't know life, doesn't know all of those things. Find her vulnerability. There is a place of vulnerability
For everyone.
for every individual. There's a place of vulnerability where you can reach her soul, because you're the only one that has a right to that place. But you also have to be malleable enough to reach their soul and speak to them and say, I struggle. I struggle with parenting you. I want to parent you, but if you don't listen, or if we don't have a conversation, like just
The connection.
that connection.
Yeah, also what I'm reminded on is when someone has those habits, they'll be, oh my God, he doesn't listen, she doesn't listen. So the child takes that in, you get. They'll be like, whatever you say, you're always saying I don't listen, so why should I even listen to them? So we shouldn't encourage that and let them not hear it. Because a friend of mine had a child, every time she would do a Zoom class, she would not listen. And I remember there's a time she said, maybe I'll just use that example. You know what? She didn't listen. So when a visitor came, and no, for me, I don't listen. Like she was saying, even mommy said, I don't listen.
Like it has become part of her.
Yeah, like mommy, if mommy says I don't listen, well, that's me. I don't listen.
It's amazing that I
because
don't
it's
think
us.
it's not even. That's a very strong character, and that's one that you want to nurture, as opposed to kill. Because most of the times, when we see a child who over talks, and who doesn't listen, quote unquote, they don't listen. But if you look at it on the other angle, they are very strong children. They are opinionated. If a man comes and touches them, it means they will say something. But if you're saying shut up, keep quiet, and a man does something to them and tells them keep quiet, they're like, it's time to listen. You know, so it helps to look at it as character and to see how to nurture it and direct it in the right way, as opposed to killing it, just to redirect that character.
And when you said 10-year-old, I was reminded of a DM we had before of a mom who was disturbed by her 8-year-old who was getting, I think, pubic hair or something like that.
Yes.
A 10-year-old, this might be the same thing. If you look, the children, today's child is entering puberty really early.
Yes.
If you remember a 12-year-old, we as 12-year-olds, how we were, 12, 13, 14, big-headed, you might find that while another child's preteen puberty stages manifested itself differently, maybe physically, this child might be manifesting itself psychologically or emotionally early, and this might be her route of showing it. And you might be it might be shocking to you, but you may have to start parenting a teenager when she's still 10 years old. And that's why I like when Rachel was saying that, you just now have to establish some structures. This is not a debate, I'm sorry. Much as I think one of the biggest foundations is listening and staying calm. As parents, we're like, immediately you then say that. There's an agitation that you're infusing in your own self. So if you can and it's a conscious decision you have to make, stay calm and listen. Even if the other idiot thinks she's right all the time, right. Even you know you're right. But now maybe you need to go slow. The other issue is maybe the environment that she's in. Sometimes, and this is not to take away blame from or to accept that what she's doing is right, but sometimes children, sometimes a home is destabilized, and then usually and then usually what parents do in that they don't, like, there's no real love that they show to their children. Either the environment is hostile. So you might need to study the environment, because your child, maybe the only way she's finding attention is by doing something bad, because that is when you come to her. Don't do this. That's when you're engaging with her. That's when you're talking to her, and they will not care whether it's negative or positive. Attention is attention. So maybe you need to try to create an environment of love. Take her out, spend time with that child. And
in good times,
Don't wait for bad times. Don't wait for bad times and then start lashing out and giving. So maybe even if you can get a good environment out of even a hostile one or a bad one. So study your environment and see maybe what changed. If something did critically before deciding that she became like that in isolation. She could have also, but first study your environment as well. Is it okay? And see what happens after that.
As a mom to grown-up children, I even feel the hairs on my hands stand up, because I'm thinking, at 10, you're having this kind of, pow. You can imagine what it will be like at 15. But sometimes it's important to always look within. Sometimes it's genetics.
It can be,
and usually it's the parent that has that particular trait who finds it most irritating.
It's true.
And they could have fixed it when they were earlier. And of course, with genetics, you could have been, boxed in and taken to Gayaza. But now with your child, maybe they haven't gotten that chance, so those traits are coming out.
Yeah.
First and foremost, I would advise, one, look to God. When it comes to children, whether you believe in him or not, when your baby
Pray
is
for
ill,
wisdom.
you will pray. So
Yeah.
it's important that one, she prays for wisdom, the power of discernment, just to be able to, because I can imagine, you just need to calm down. Then I think it's also important for us to speak the language of love for these children, identify it. For example, my children, the one thing that hurts them the most, not the beating or the anything, it's when I just simply
Go mute, yes.
mute.
Yes. I know that as well.
if you come home on time, if you don't come home on time,
If you don't
if you stay on your
communicate.
phone, I wake up at 3 a.m. and I can see you on your phone, I'll pass, close your door and sleep. Slowly by slowly, sometimes when you use a hammer to hit at something,
You push them
realize that
farther
maybe
away.
you just need to keep dropping water at it and the stone will crack. But getting to that point as a mom, I can imagine the
hard.
frustration.
Yeah.
10 years old, and yet, you can't do that.
yeah.
So if you were to ask me, especially if you truly believe you've done everything, try ignoring that child for a while.
I actually thought about that too.
Nobody's
yeah.
coming to pick you
Ignore.
up from the neighbors. Nobody is doing nothing. I'm not ignoring in a bad way.
No.
Reverse psychology.
Reverse psychology.
Yeah.
Give a reverse.
Because by the time they get to 15, they'll outthink you,
Because 10, huh?
Yeah.
10 is a 10.
Ladies, I'm curious. We have a mom on the boat, our very own tour guide for this amazing boat ride. Let's invite Elise to come and share her opinion on what we have been talking about. Welcome, Elise. I think that it would be interesting for us to hear what she thinks. You're a mom. How many kids do you have?
I have 2 kids.
2 kids.
And I'm very glad that you have invited me into your discussion.
Thank you.
I've been listening to what you are saying. And what is there is that I also concur with what you have been discussing.
Yes.
Because I've been listening to you. And like the point where you talked of love, to show the children love from a young stage, I think that is something that we would in fact put first onto our kids, because our children sometimes they copy bad habits or they do bad things because if you don't show them love from the very beginning, then of course you are doing something which is very bad to your children. And you find that psychologically our kids sometimes normally are like retarded in growth mentally because of what we do at our homes.
Yes.
Yeah, so you find if you leave like the kids to move also especially into the neighborhood and maybe you find that the neighbors have their own ways of doing their own
things. Yeah.
You find that our kids end up copying up things that is not really
Bad
going to
behavior.
help
Yeah.
them to see
Yeah.
like bad behavior.
Yeah.
So the points you put, in fact, I have concurred with you
Yeah.
and I'm very grateful. I thank you, our guests, for the good discussion that you have had and I have really taken in. And I think I also have learned a lot from you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Elise, our tour guide on the MV Kazinga. Wow. There you have it. So much advice. I hope that we have been of help, whether it's to ignore or create structures or introduce another voice or show them love or pray. I hope that this has actually been helpful advice. And of course, many thanks to Great Lakes Safaris for this beautiful mamcation. To book your visit, follow the link below. Until next time, with love from what, ladies? From Bam Love. Hey.
Social dissidency. Tulia kukola dissidency. Mutibala tukubepate. Katibandete sati kafil. Ketikwatire mubala. Mutukalire mubekwa kokumacha mutukulire. Sabada gamba kalatiri. Mututekefe mubala. Nakukuminanya. Wezi kwako mutukulire. Because eyo je muberera mu lockdown.